Okay, I'm going for a walk to test the basics. I haven't made any adjustments on this. Just want to see what it's like. I think I can get used to this. I like it. Now, where am I going? I have no clue. I had to remove one of my ear buds so I can hear the traffic, so nobody will run me over. Anyways, let's talk about something. What should we talk about? Okay, let's see. Here we go. I met many people in the car that complains a lot about how expensive Toronto is and the price of everything is so high. You know what? It's true. It's very high over here. We're being taxed and taxed and taxed to death. Things are expensive here. And I asked them, I said, do you know why is this expensive? Probably maybe about 100 or so or more I've asked. And they couldn't answer me except for one guy. People come up with all kinds of excuses and reasons rather why it's expensive over here. However, they were all wrong except for one guy. And I told him, I said, you're the only guy who gave me the right answer. How did you know? He says, well, he's an accountant and also an investor. Well, that made sense. Well, I'm trying to get to the park, but it seems a long way off. What if I don't know. Let's see here. Time to cross the road. That's me running. I'm wondering if this thing is stable. I'm still testing it out. Ooh. I'm getting my exercise in. I don't have to go on the treadmill. Okay. This is not an area I want to go in. You know what? It looks peaceful. Let me check it out. So the guy gave me the answer, and I was very surprised that he actually knew what it was. You see, many years ago, I don't know, I forgot now, I'm getting older. I don't know, it was about 20 years ago or so, when the Hong Kong Chinese investors saw an opportunity in Canada. And they took the opportunity to buy properties. Well, they were smart. They selected Vancouver because Vancouver was a really nice place in those days. And they would buy up the properties. By then, I think at that time we were making possibly, I think about $8 an hour or probably less. That was the base salary. And as they were buying up the properties, well, what they did is this. They go to the people in Vancouver and says, listen, want to buy a house. People says, I'm not going to sell. I don't want to sell. Never thought about selling. They say, well, your house is worth 200. We will give you 250, 300, 400,000. The Hong Kong dollar was very high, so they could afford to do that. And people sold out because that was a lot of money in those days. The wise real estate agents started calling people, cold calls. Hey guys, we can get you twice what your house is worth. List it with me. And they start doing that. And people were selling out their houses, making good monies, good profit. And it continued for a while. Then the people start complaining to the government. Hey, we can't afford to buy houses right now. They're expensive. What's going on? Eventually, many years later, our government, I don't want to say anything derogatory about any governments, but they didn't listen until many years later. I think they penalized or put some clause in the law that states or start charging them taxes and whatever to stop them. I just can't remember everything now. Stop them from buying houses in Vancouver. It wasn't feasible for them to keep doing that based on what the government did. Well, these guys were smart, these Hong Kong Chinese guys, investors. They came to Toronto and started doing the same. They may buy up 2, 3, 4 houses in a row because they could afford to do that, offering people much more than what the houses were worth. And people sold and sold. And that went on for a number of years. Then Hong Kong students, Chinese students, started coming over. Well, the residents of Toronto were smart enough to increase their prices of the basement apartment for rent. Apartments went up. People were complaining to the government. And they complained quite a bit. The government didn't listen. Until they gave us a solution. What's the solution? You guys are making $8 an hour. We're going to bring it up to whatever, $10, $12 an hour. What happens when you increase the price? The salary, base salary. How are the companies going to afford to pay the employees? What do they have to do? They have to increase their cost of goods and services. So that went up, trucking cost, everything went up, started going up. People still complain because the residents started increasing their prices. They saw that they can make money doing that, and they did it. Chinese continue buying up properties. Government came up with the same type of solution. A year or 2 years later, we will increase your base salary again. Well, if you increase the base salary, employers, companies have to increase their cost of goods and services. So things started going up and up and up. Till I believe it was about close to $15 or $15 an hour, the government says, okay, you know what, here is another solution. If you're not a citizen or a PR over here, you can't invest by buying properties in Canada, something to that effect. So it stopped, but it was too late. Everything went up. When we were making $8 an hour, I remember I was making $3 an hour back in the 70s. When we get a quarter, 25 cents increase, that was big bucks. Anyways, when we were making $8 an hour, we could afford a house, car, traveling, and tons of groceries. But now you're making $15, $17 an hour. You need two people in a household earning monies, bringing in income. Need two people's income, two persons' income, to do what we were doing when one person was making like $8 an hour. But they still are having a hard time getting what we got at $8 an hour. Well, I think people are now being paid over $17 an hour base salary, $20 an hour very easily now. And yet they're complaining. Why? And they justly should complain. Things are too expensive. Canada started declining probably about 15 years ago. And it continued to decline at a rapid rate. There's no coming back from that. You can't go and tell a guy, listen, man, I know your house is only worth $250,000 just a few years back. I'll make it better for you. I'll give you $300,000. The guy will laugh at you because now his house is worth over $1 million. No, he's not going to sell because, he bought it from somebody. And he bought it probably about $800,000, $700,000 overpriced. So now the house prices are up. Rental is up. Now you have the other immigrants coming in. The international students from India. Well, they felt the blunt of what's going on in Toronto. Or in Canada, basically. It's hard for them to save money. Hard for them to pay their bills. And there are many people coming from different countries. One of them is what I talk about, Philippines. A lot of Filipinos come over here. A lot of people from different countries, third world countries, that come over to make a better life, sort of thing. To make more money so they can actually go home or send money back home. And eventually buy a property in their own countries, and when they're tired of here, they go back. Well, some of them are stuck. Why? Because they realize they can't save a penny, they can't send back a penny, because the cost of living is very high over here. So now they're stuck here and have to wait until they're retired, because if they go back to these countries, many of them can't find a job because these places are overpopulated. I know in one country that I visited, people are qualifying or graduating from university and they're ending up being cashiers. There aren't any jobs. There are more people than jobs. More people willing to work than there are jobs. So they now are stuck here and have to wait till they retire. And then they can go back home, collect their CPP, pension, whatever the case might be, and live comfortably there with foreign monies coming in on a monthly basis. So when people telling you and the gurus are telling you this is why the cost of living went up, this is why the prices went up, and this is why Canada is expensive, well, at least I've shared what I believe and know is true, because I've presented it to people who didn't believe it, and when I told them, they go, yeah, that is correct. Especially accountants and investors. Many of them know but they don't talk about it. Because what's the purpose of talking about it? Does anyone really listen? Not really. Anyways, you've seen enough of my face. I hopefully give you something to think about. So the next time you hear somebody complaining about the high prices and they don't understand why, or they come up with their own theory, you can explain to them a proven fact of why Canada is so expensive. Crazy expensive. Well, 3 years ago I decided to check out a few places where I go and retire, because even I feel the pinch. Yeah, I make money. Plus I also get money from the government. I'm okay, but I still feel it. I'm single, I'm the only one bringing in money, and I gotta pay out monies. But I can manage, but there are other people who can't. Yes, I feel it. I see it. So 3 years ago I started researching where is the best place to retire. I came up with Colombia, Costa Rica, Chile, Thailand, and various places. However, I'll switch this over. However, I kind of settled on the Philippines because they are predominantly English speaking. It's a second language. English is a second language in the country, so I can get by there, have communication. I would say a lot of them, probably about 50% or more, speaks English, and another 10% understands and can get by with it. So, plus for 1,000 Canadian, you can live a good life over there without having all the hardship you have over here. Of course, you do give up a few things, conveniences and whatever, but you gotta learn to live with things. I did a video on why I like the Philippines. Anyways, guys, I'm home. That's a Portuguese guy. I like him a lot. He's a very nice guy. I keep talking about how many guys I like a lot. No, I like women. I prefer women. But I love everybody. You know. Yeah, I'm approaching my place now. Shouldn't have shown my address in case I get people coming looking for me. Love you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.